Welp, we did it! 1 million views! My very first video that I forgot to use a pop filter and edited the audio levels like a drunken baboon managed to hit that big old number. With such success, I am sure the rest of my channel is... Oh. What if... Yikes. Well, damn it. The only thing left to do when you become a one-hit wonder is to feed off that single success forever. And that's what this video is here to do. Over 10,000 comments. Most of them have been positive, but a few have been critical of my work. And every piece of criticism I have ever received in my life is wrong. But this time around, I'm going to take some of those criticisms and expand on them. Explain why those people are wrong. And maybe get to make fun of certain people along the way. There will be a few points I need to make before diving into the criticisms. The manga ended in 2014, which is where my association with the series stopped, and my mind began to slowly tune out well before then. While I can almost remember the original non-filler show down to the episodes, Shippuden at this point has become a giant blur for me, and I'm not going to spend however long I initially spent looking at Shippuden episodes again for this video. Not that a big show tune is needed again, since this will just be a criticism of criticisms. The first thing that must be mentioned, the way I pronounce
Naruto Worldbuilding.
I do recognize that the way I pronounce
Naruto Worldbuilding
is bad, but with this weird accent of mine, my attempts at correctly pronouncing it would be much worse to your ears, trust me. As such, I have hired a vocal stuntman. So now anytime
Naruto
or
Worldbuilding
needs to be said, it will be pronounced correctly. Seeing as how a lot of people found my entire video to be invalid because of that single point. And there's a small few of those people that legitimately thought that I was trying to imitate a Japanese accent. And to those people I say thank you, because you have changed my mind and now I believe in post-birth abortions. The next, and probably most common piece of criticism. We had a rampaging giant demon fox in the very first episode who was said to be able to destroy mountains with the whip of his tail. The destructive power of this
world building
was already established, so all those giant explosions were not out of the ordinary. The power scaling was already set. The problem with this criticism is actually stated right in the criticism itself. Giant demon fox. Not human ninja, not space alien. The village did not have their own set of giant explosions in that first episode. They kept throwing kunai at it. The most powerful ninja of the village had to die in order for it to just be sealed away. The giant supernatural demon fox does not excuse things being done by humanoid ninjas such as a massive swarm of giant meteors, summoning a massive tidal wave of sharks, missile attacks, giant walls. Seriously, how does a ninja take a wall and make it not stealthy? This massive 1,000-hand Buddha statue, any and all Susanos, just the very concept of them, and everything else those special eye powers could do later on, gigantification. These are all acts of stealthy, discreet humans. Not giant rampaging demon foxes. Next argument I keep seeing, and when I realized the numbers to this I let out quite a hearty laugh. Most of the footage I used for Shippuden, the critics say, was from the Pain arc and War arc, which makes it not count for some reason. Naruto should have ended at the Pain arc, they also say. Well, sure, but it didn't. I looked up exactly how many episodes came after the Pain arc. Pain ended at episode 175. Naruto Shippuden has exactly 500 episodes. This means that 65% of Naruto Shippuden is after the Pain arc, and close to 70% when you throw Pain back in. So if you want to complain that most of the footage I use takes place in the last 65 to 70% of the series, well, you got me. Speaking of my choice in footage, a strong criticism of my video is that I focus so much in the beginning, then just kind of wrap things up in a simple 2-minute montage. I hear you. Unlike the previous criticisms, this one has some legitimacy to it. There's a few reasons I chose to do this. The first one is that the video was already getting on in length, and I was trying to keep it within a time window. The initial cut was something like over 20 minutes. The second is the difficulty of properly showing a negative. Let's say some fight is 95% mindless fighting, and 5% of some form of strategy. I can use any of the 95% of the fight to showcase no strategy. And you know there will be someone who jumps in and says, but what about this 5% here? See, your entire point is wrong. it'll be weird to show footage of people not using kunai or not making hand signs. Let's remember that I am not saying that 100% of these elements went away, but the same math I just used applies. 95% of strategy goes out the window, people want to hang out to that 5% and say I'm wrong. No hand signs 95% of the time? How about the remaining 5%? To say nothing of complex jutsu, now only requiring a single hand sign because reasons. Another point is that I wanted to do what I wanted to do. Despite the video being a bit lower in quality compared to my other serious vids, I still tried with it. And with those types of videos where I'm not messing around, I always want to have my own certain flair to it. And that 2-minute AMV is that something. You'll find this concept in most of my videos where I take a more serious approach to a show, like my Dragon Ball series, where I use music exclusively from all the different sources, original Japanese, American Ocean dubs, Bruce Falconer, up until the more iconic moments, where I use my own hand-picked music for the editing process. If you don't like it, I'm not saying you're wrong, but I'm not going to change it either. Next on the list of criticisms, the way shonen battle anime work is that the next villain is stronger than the last, and the protagonist also needs to be stronger. It's only natural that a show going on over 700 episodes will escalate to such a degree. You are correct in that escalation should be expected, but like I said in the original video, if you're going to increase the scope, go from a foot to a yard, not a foot to a city block. The show set the parameters already for how strong the top dogs were. Let me quickly remind everyone that the first Hokage level battle on the rooftop was their full strength. The idea that they were weakened in an incomplete resurrection jutsu was a retcon, something they added in Shippuden. Speaking of retcons, how many people are aware that Gaara and Shukaku were originally not Jinchuriki? Shukaku was from a different mythology, and he was the spirit of an evil priest.
The monster that comes from Gaara is named Shukaku and is a colossal tanuki, which is a yokai or a magical animal in Japanese legend. In part 1 of the show, and this will be important later, Shukaku is said to have been a corrupted priest who turned into an evil spirit and was sealed away inside a tea kettle. Now, as random and silly as that sounds, it's actually pretty significant for the circumstances. In folklore, tanukis are actually rivals to foxes, inspiring the events of the fight between Naruto and Gaara. And the detail about Shukaku being sealed away in a tea kettle directly ties him to the tale of Bunbuku Chagama, wherein a tanuki transforms himself into a tea kettle.
Him being the Six Tails was a retcon, and a major one at that. Back to what I was saying about escalation. The story follows the weak preteen Genin. There was plenty of room to grow, but we missed a lot of that growth with the time skip. Naruto grew to almost Kakashi's level damn near instantaneously. In fact, I looked up the timeline of Shippuden. Naruto is said to have come back somewhere around late June, because they were preparing for the Chunin exams when he gets back. That takes place twice a year. This was the summer portion of the exams. Obito makes mention that Naruto's birthday, October 10th, marked the end of the Great Ninja War. I may just be blowing someone else's hot air, but there were not any 6 months later type of events in Shippuden. He started out having the 4 tails unlocked, but how many power-ups did Naruto gain during this time? We had Sage Mode, 6 Tails Mode, 8 Tails Mode, 9 Tails Chakra Mode, Kurama Chakra Mode, Tailed Beast Sage Mode, 6 Path Sage Mode, Ashura Kurama Mode. Did I miss any? Naruto showcased about 8 different Super Saiyan transformations in the span of something like a week. Remember, the last 65% of Naruto took place within about 2 days. So, yeah, their power scaling is one of the most broken out of any anime ever. And yes, you could have gone past the Hokage level battle easily while still keeping it within story limits and not going insane with everything. When one of the Hokage used a water jutsu with no water present, the Anbu, the supposed elite of the elite ninja, was shocked by this. A simple escalation would be that the top tier fighters of Naruto's generation can use even bigger water jutsu with no water present. What was once a Hokage level feat can now be pulled off by many skilled jonin. The Anbu were also impressed that the third was able to combine an earth style and a fire style jutsu the way that he did. Have more advanced combinations. Have the third while he's resurrected, look at the jutsu combinations the new generation is able to do and be impressed. Say that the new generation have managed to surpass him using the foundations he helped lay. Next on the list of criticisms, Kishimoto wanted to write a story about giant kaiju battles, so he didn't actually destroy his world building as he was able to do what he wanted to do. Let's make sure we all understand this point here. When people say this, what they're doing is explaining why I am right, and that me being correct is why I am somehow wrong. He wanted to make a story about loud, giant kaiju battles, but he ended up going the route of stealthy ninja as his entire theme. You were stating to me, and everyone else, why Kishimoto destroyed his world building. Because what he wanted did not match his setting. You're not making a counterpoint. That about wraps up the most common criticisms I have gotten over my Naruto How to Destroy Your Own World Building video. This obviously did not cover every single little criticism I've gotten, but nonetheless, if you wish to argue that I'm still wrong on some of these or other points, feel free to say it in the comments. If it isn't obvious from the original video, as well as every other video I've made on this channel, I read nearly every single comment and reply if I can. So for once, a YouTuber is not just telling you to leave a comment in order to feed the algorithm. I'm saying it because I talk back, which is apparently a rarity in this platform. Insert cliche message about supporting me with Patreon, memberships, or joining my Tea of the Month club on my website to get some delicious, loose-leaf weeb-themed tea delivered to you every month. And for the love of God, subscribe! How the hell can I have a video of over 1 million views and less than 6k subscribers? What the hell is wrong with this picture? Do I need to send dick pics to everyone to make it so?